Good morning. Great to see you all here. Do you have nice journeys here? Yeah? Good. I hear the trains are causing issues, and great to really see you here. Well done for coming. Right, it's a privilege and honor to be asked to share with you this topic, social housing. Anybody here know what social housing is? Good. A few hands up. Anybody actually involved in social housing? Yeah? 1, 2. Good. Right. Well, it's very topical. If you keep reading the news, especially with all the benefit cuts and all sorts of things, you find a lot of information about it. In an hour or so, we are going to try to dispel all the myths, talk to you about the privileges and opportunities that social housing offers and all that. What we're going to do is we will go through it, and then if there's any questions, we'll answer it at the end. But if it's a very burning question that you need answered as we're going through the presentation as well, we're happy to answer it as we go in. And before I start, I came across this saying or quotation by the former CEO of General Electric. And it says, if you're not changing faster than your environment, then you are falling behind. And is it true? Do we agree with that? Yes. Yeah? I need a bit of interaction. Yeah? I'm not the only person going to do all the talk today. I want you to talk as well. And it's true because things are changing. There are strategies out there which may work today but not work tomorrow. So you need to educate yourself, learn things, new things, try new things. Yeah? What I'll say, don't be afraid to try anything new because, believe it or not, as they said, new things bring new opportunities, and new opportunities bring new incomes. Right. This is our agenda for today. We're going to say a bit about ourselves, we the presenters, obviously, and I'll explain to you why we've been asked to share this topic with you, because we've done quite a few things and we continue to do a few things as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about the key investment criteria, what criteria we use to invest. And also tell you about the recession-proof strategy. We call it social housing, the recession-proof strategy. Because believe it or not, as the recession is really biting, it looks as it's gone away, but every now and then we've been talked about double dip and all that. Things are tough out there, but social housing actually is offering even a better opportunity out there. So again, we'll explain that. And then we'll talk to you about the investment options that are available within the social housing market as well. And then finally, we'll go through what benefits as a social investor will have. And then we will conclude. Okay? This will take an hour and a half, an hour, 10 minutes or so. So don't be, we'll get over it very quickly. Okay, before we start, a little bit about myself. My background is actually in export management. Export management basically is the rules and regulations of moving goods across borders, basically. Because sometimes when I say export management, people wonder what's export management. It's a very unique field. But that's what I was busy doing, and I was hoping that I'll work till I finish and then retire. And then somewhere along the line, I was actually earmarked for redundancy. So I was just wondering, what do I do? And lucky enough, I was coming home one day, and I saw a property being sold in my road. So I asked for the price. I knew what my house was worth. So I put in an offer, and the offer was accepted. So I bought the property, did it up, and made some money. So I then thought, why not? Try another one. At this stage, I was actually on my garden leave. So over a space of 6 to 7 months, I made almost equivalent of my full-time income. And I was wondering, do I take this new profession on, or do I go back to work, find a job? Anyway, I went back, I got another job, and over a space of only 1 month, I was made redundant again. So I thought, maybe somebody up there is trying to tell me something to change direction. So I decided, well, I went to this wise man. As you can all see, he's got a lot of gray hair, so he's a very wise man. So I said, well, we're very good friends anyway. So I said, George, what do you think? Look at what I've done. And he, being wise as he says, look, Ben, if this is the challenge you're having, let's go for it. So in 2000, it looks like that yesterday, but it's about 11 years ago, believe it or not, we set up a company. And the idea was to replicate what I had done, in the sense that buy and sell properties. So that's what we started doing. We had a fantastic 3 years, buy and sell property. You buy a property, you do it up, you sell it, you make 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and so forth. It was very, very interesting. But then we felt there was something not quite right. We kept doing it, and it felt like a job. And I was trying to get away from the job scenario. So anyway, we heard about this same organization, Tigrant, running a course. And we said, come on, let's go and see what the professionals do, how they do their investment. Because maybe we are not doing something right. Because we just didn't feel right, though we were making money. The excitement was dying out. Because once you sold the property, it's all gone. You made your money, but that's it. Anyway, though it's a good strategy, because it did do us a lot of good. We learned a lot. So when we came to the training, the lady taking the course said, the value of property doubles every 7 to 8 years. Are we aware of that? Yes. That was very exciting. I mean, I couldn't even concentrate on the course anymore because I felt very excited. Wow. We went back home and analyzed all the properties we'd bought and sold. And we would realize how wealthier we would have been only if we managed to keep these properties. So again, as you know, the wise man again said, George, what do you think? Because he advises me, you know. Even when I was much younger, he tells me which girlfriends to go for. So he's a very wise man. Anyway, so we thought and said, look, we're going to stop selling properties. Yeah, because we really want to be wealthy. So we decided end of 2003, 2004, we're not going to sell any more properties. We're going to keep the properties. As we said, we're not born with a silver spoon in our hands or mouth or whatever they say. So we had to buy our properties with mortgages. And as you know, if you buy a property with a mortgage, there's a monthly payment. You have to find a way of paying for it. So obviously, we had to rent the properties. And I, for one, I was not interested in the rental game at all. I just didn't like it. It's not something, I don't know, it's some reason. I mean, George likes tenants, but I don't. I mean, it's just our nature. Anyway, my nature. Anyway, so we said, so what do we do? How do you keep the properties? Obviously, we got to rent it. So we started investigating the rental strategies. We looked at the student market. We didn't quite like it. We always felt there was something not quite right with us. So we dispelled that. We looked at the professional market. We didn't like it, though they're all very good strategies. Then we came across something called social housing. Interesting. What is social housing? Right? They explained it to us. What they said, you buy a property, do it up to a specific standard that the local authority or the housing association requires, and then they will lease the property off you. The beauty about that is that they will manage the property and also guarantee your rent, right? So the rent is guaranteed. At the end of every month, rent comes in irrespective of what is going on. Whether it's a tenant in or not, once it's leased it off you, it keeps coming in. That's why I always say to George, when you see him on the first of every month, he actually looks taller because he moves quicker because the money is coming and he's very excited. He really likes money, you know. So anyway, so they say that the rent is guaranteed. So we wondered, how come everybody's not doing this? Because once you've done the property up, they take over the property. Even certain local authorities or housing associations will actually look after the property as well as give you some money towards doing up the refurbishment. I wondered, why not? Why is everybody not doing it? Anyway, the more we researched it, the more we became very, very intrigued. So we decided that is what we're going to do. Also, even some of the local authorities will actually give you extra money to do refurbishments as well. Anyway, so that's what we started doing. And that's what we've been doing for the last, 7, 8 years. And it's very, very, very interesting. And we'll share a few of the things that we've actually done with you. I also put it there, I'm a seasonal investor. What it is our focus is social housing, but we use other strategies to enhance the social housing aspect. Because as you know, in this game, you've got to be creative. If you're not creative, you just buy 1 or 2 properties and you finish up. Yeah? So our target is every property we buy, there has to be a creative angle around it, in the sense that we want to be able to remortgage the property, get the money back, and then move to the next and the next. So we buy properties that maybe are distressed, properties that need work. We may buy a property that has been converted very generously, so we change a 1-bed to a 2-bed, and a 2-bed to a 3-bed, and a 3-bed to a 5-bed, and so forth. We like to be very creative about that. Because if you are not creative, then you'll be able to get more money and go to the next. I'm also an accredited landlord. Now, accreditation is very important when you're dealing with the local authorities and housing associations, because some of the local authorities will actually not deal with you at all if you're not accredited. Accreditation is not a massive thing. It's a training course you go on. It's a day course. You go in the morning, they teach you a lot of how to be a good landlord, all the rules and regulations, and then in the afternoon, after lunch, you have a test, and once you pass, you're accredited, and then you commit to go on training for the next 5 years, various aspects of how to let properties and how to be a good landlord. But the good thing about it is that the local authorities may not deal with you, especially when it comes to grants, because when you apply for a grant, they want to know that you're a fit and proper landlord. And in the UK, the only benchmark we have is this accreditation, right? So it will enable you to apply for grants. So it's very important to be one of them. I'm also a residential landlord member, and basically that's an organization which looks after the interest of landlords. And with these days where a lot of legislation is being thrown at us by the government, you got to have somewhere you can go and then ask for advice and at least legal things sorted out for you. In my spare time, I'm also a charity fundraiser. I raise money for charity. I believe that if you're able and also you have a bit of time on your hands and you're a bit financially stable, you always have to try and give something back. So that's the bit I do. So if you happen to see me in front of Sainsbury's or Morrison's with my collection bowl, please donate some money. It's a very difficult job. Yeah. Interesting. I think I've said enough about myself. I'll hand over to George, and then I'll come back later to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. I endorse most of what he said. Sorry, good morning, guys. Hope you're all well. Yes, I endorse most of what Ben said, except, of course, the wisdom associated with the gray hair. Some have wisdom and gray hair, but choose to use chemicals and other potions to enhance alternative sort of appearances. I leave that to your imagination. Anyway, I'm George Nati, and I have qualifications in marketing. And I worked for 20 years in the telecommunications industry within sales support, product marketing, product management, that sort of environment. And I enjoyed my job tremendously. I can't remember many days when I didn't go into work skipping and whistling my favorite tunes. But despite enjoying my job, I also had a lovely secret, and that was my property investment secret, my hobby. Now, I know you saw the knitting needles and the wool ball, and you probably thought that was what I got up to in my spare time. But I can assure you that whilst I love wearing nicely knitted garments, I don't actually produce them myself, so it's not my hobby. But anyway, this property investment hobby really stemmed from not being able to sell one particular property that I wanted to sell and move to a different area. The economy and the situation at the time was not particularly conducive to selling. So after trying to sell it for 3 months, I decided, let me go and see the Abbey National, who I had my mortgage with, and ask them if they would allow me to rent the property. And to my surprise, they said yes, but there was a sting in the tail. They wanted 2% more on top of the mortgage. But anyway, they agreed to do it for 3 years. This is before proper buy-to-lets came into existence. So them agreeing to do that was wonderful. So they agreed to do it for 3 years. Having got that agreement, I now started looking for a tenant. And I also started looking for a new property to move into. So I went to the Halifax and I said to them, I've rented the property I already have a mortgage on. Can you please give me a mortgage based on my income? And they said yes. So this was fantastic because I could move legitimately from one property into another, leave that one to look after itself and cater for the new one with my income. And having done that once, guess what? I thought I could do it again. So I set up a new arrangement to move. Now I went to see the Nationwide, and they agreed to allow the Halifax and the Abbey properties to remain mortgaged. And having done that a second time, I then went to go and see Northern Rock. And so it continued.